Hey everybody, I'm Todd and this is Sweet Tea Guitars. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel and welcome to the Great Guitar Build Off 2022. Alright you guys, I just posted my latest Great Guitar Build Off video yesterday. This is for the Cloud9 build. I got the stain on my guitar finally, and we'll take a look at it real quick before we get rolling here. Here it is right here, it's all dry now, everything's good to go. Before we go any further though, I want to sand my bevels and get some oil applied to this guitar so I've got some protection on top of this stain right here. So we're going to get that done. Let's jump straight into it. I think what I'm going to have to do is get my scrapers out, and I've got these little mini Veritas scrapers right here, and I'm going to be so extra careful with this, you guys. We're still going to have to sand it. This may give me a tighter line. This is so difficult to do. I've done this on the Ryza build. If I'm really careful, we should be able to get this nice and clean like that is around there. I am hopeful. Again, this is like super difficult to do, you guys. It makes me nervous. But, you know, in the end, it's just wood, you guys. You know, if I had to restain it, I would. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I would let it bother me that much, but I would rather that not happen, understand that. The one thing I did learn a lesson on when I was doing the Ryza build was that you're better off when you're doing the stain to try and keep as much of that stain off of your bevel as you can. This process right here is why I got these little scrapers. I saw these on Lee Valley Tools from Veritas, and I knew they would be made out of really nice steel. They hold a really nice edge. I am using 320 grit on this block, mainly because I know, you know, I'll be finished, ready when I'm done with this sanding. Sorry about the rain, you guys. There's not much I can do about it at this point. I'm going to keep scraping. No sense in boring you guys to death with this. We will pick back up once I get all this done. Unless something goes horribly wrong, I'll tell you guys about that too. I'll be right back. All right, you guys, I thought I'd check in real quick. We're getting there. Nice, clean, tight line all the way around. I am being super careful. My plan is to finish this, spray some vinyl sealer, sanding sealer on this thing. We'll go over it with 600 grit sandpaper after the sealer's applied, and we'll start applying some oil. That's the plan anyway. Between this block and the scraper, I've been able to get it this far. And I'd say I've been working on this probably an hour with the camera off. So it's probably going to take me 2.5 hours to do this completely. One more thing I found is it is super important that you don't rub the dust with your fingers. It's best if you brush it off. If you rub after you've sanded, and especially if you're getting some of the blue in this, it will stain the maple, and then you've got to go back and re-sand it again. And every time you do that, you're taking that chance that you're going to mess it up. These parts right here, these dips, that's where I've had the biggest issue so far. Now I haven't gotten to the horns yet, or the cutaways I mean. Just figured I'd leave the camera going for a minute and let you guys watch how tedious this is. But I'm kind of enjoying the process. It's so important that you get a super tight line, because it'll look like an amateur did this if I don't get this as close to perfect as I possibly can. So I'm trying real hard. All right, that solidified that up. So right here, I'm good. I don't want to touch that area again with sandpaper, with scraper, with anything. I want that to stay exactly like it is, so I'm just working my way around this body. All right, you guys, I'm pretty much done at this point. I don't think I'm going to get it any tighter than that. This is a difficult finish. You know, I have had to scrape all that, but check out that line. I love that so much. That look you get when you do it like that. So to me, it's worth every bit of the time. You guys hear me talk a lot about dimension. The angles are changing as we go around the body. And I just think that's such a cool look. I think I'm gonna have to let that ride. It looks really good. I love this thing, you guys. I love it. I think it turned out so cool so far. And what we're gonna do now, before I take any more chances on damaging this top, I am going to steel wool with quadruple aught steel wool. And what this does is it takes some of that chalky top color off. Instead of wiping that, you don't want to wipe that steel wool. You want to vacuum it. I'm trying to impress myself here. You know, if I can impress you guys, that's an added bonus. You know, it is the great guitar build off, and I've seen some pretty incredible builds. Take a look at Adair Guitars and look at his project, and you know, it makes you want to be absolutely certain that you're happy with your build, because that guy's, you know, what an incredible builder. Brett from Luther Builds, I've talked about him in my last video. Gio from Tornelli. I mean, those guys are my buddies, but damn, you know, everybody sets the bar really high. I need to hang this guitar up, I guess. We're not going to spray a super heavy amount. We're going to do like 3 light coats on this thing, just to seal the color in. And then we're going to hit this guitar with some 600 grit, that will be tomorrow night, because I'm going to put 3 coats on this thing this evening. We'll come down tomorrow afternoon and we'll sand this thing up to like 600 grit. I may even go 800, and we'll start applying some oil. It is humid, super humid outside today. Luckily, all this is sealer, so I'm not really concerned about drying time or anything like that. One more thing, I don't want sealer all over my fretboard. 3 light coats. I'm gonna run it to the house, take about 30 minutes, fix myself a cup of tea or some coffee. I'll come back down here in about 30 minutes or so. We'll apply a second coat of the sealer to the guitar. I'll do that one more time, and then we're gonna wrap it up for the evening. It's a sad day here at Sweet Tea. I had to sand it all off, you guys. I'm going to tell you guys what happened. My stain was all perfect and killer. I was really happy with it. I knew I needed to seal the top of this guitar before I applied the oil to it. And I've ordered myself some Mohawk Easy Vinyl Sealer. I've also got some Mohawk Pre-Catalyzed Sanding Sealer. After doing the research, I thought I would try to use the Vinyl Easy Sanding Sealer because the Pre-Catalyzed Lacquer Sealer is pretty much custom made to go under the Mohawk Pre-Catalyzed Lacquer top coat. I didn't want to take a chance on having bond issues or anything like that with my oil going over the top of lacquer. So I decided to use the vinyl sanding sealer. I came down here, I was all ready to do it. I knew I needed to put just a light mist coat on my first coat and my second coat. Then I could go a little bit heavier on my third, possibly even a fourth coat. Then I was going to sand this guitar, 600 grit, start putting oil on it. Well, sprayed my first coat, everything went great, no problem. Went back up to the house, let the shop air out from all the fumes, gave it about 35-40 minutes because it was really humid outside. It started raining. I came back down here, not even thinking about it, sprayed my second coat on there. Go back up to the house, give it 30 minutes, let the shop air out, same thing. I came back down here to lay the third coat on, and I noticed as soon as I opened the door to the shop that the front of my guitar had turned milky white. It was so humid in this shop that my sealer blushed. So I took some 600 grit sandpaper just to see if I could get that sealer pretty much removed, at least enough removed without getting into the stain. It ended up not happening. I immediately started seeing little white spots all over my stain. I don't know if this guitar had a contaminant on it. I did wipe it down with naphtha 3 days before I stained it, but I'm sure all that naphtha solvent had evaporated by that point. But I'm not certain that there was not a spray mist of something I could have let go in here. I'm not sure what it could have been. It could have even been water for that matter. But something caused it to spot. I was super pissed off at first. Then I started thinking, no need to get pissed. You got to redo it. I sanded all the stuff off. The blue's back off of here. I'm going to redo this fade. I'm not going to make you guys watch me resand this guitar. I've done all this with the random orbit, but I need to go back over this by hand with 320 grit sandpaper, even on my bevels, because I'm sure I got some of these lines out of whack with the random orbit sander. We'll pick back up where I'm starting to reapply the stain. We'll go through that process again really quickly. I'm going to get that stain wiped on here tonight. I am going to go straight to Osmo Extra Thin Wood Wax oil on this guitar. I am going to apply a super light coat with very little pressure. The Osmo Extra Thin Wood Wax is a penetrating oil. I want to use the Osmo as my sealer. The fact that it's an oil base means that I won't be too affected by humidity in the shop. It may slow down the drying a little bit, but it's not going to have the adverse reaction that spraying a spray finish on top of this thing would be. Now, I am losing the capability of the sealer to lock this color in, but the main reason you use sealer is to keep the stain from pulling away when you're wiping the oil on. And the Osmo Extra Thin Wood Wax, you don't have to apply too much pressure to get that rubbed into the surface. The wood soaks it in automatically. So I'm not too concerned about getting a nice base down for the Osmo Pollux oil. Now, if I were going straight to this product, I would absolutely need a sealer because you want to rub this into the surface. Anyway, I'm going to get to sanding on this guitar, you guys. It's probably going to take me about an hour. We'll pick back up at that point. Thank you guys so much for stopping back by the channel. I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, you guys, It's not exactly like it was the other night, and I know I've got a line right here. I'm going to take that away after this stain's dry. So what's going to happen when I still wool this thing, not only will it even that color out a little bit, it'll take that top layer of color off and everything will come just a hair lighter, which is going to give us a little bit better grain definition up on the horn area and where I've got that light blue in the center section. You do not want to do that until you're absolutely certain that the stain's dry, which for Angelus, 8 hours is more than adequate. But I'm going to let this sit overnight. We're going to oil with this thing tomorrow evening. I kept my bevels a little cleaner than I did the first time I did this, so it shouldn't take us too long to sand this off. We're going to keep moving forward, you guys. We're getting really close on this guitar. Last night, I did it again. I screwed up my stain. I'm back here. I stained it all black again. We're about to sand it all off. I won't make you guys watch me do this, but I did want you to know that this will be number 3. I'm not staining it again. This will be the final time. What happened was I started noticing that there was a pretty hard line between the light blue and the turquoise. And I was not happy with that. The blend didn't look very good. It looked way better the first time. I took some pictures and I looked at it on the camera compared to the first time, and I was not happy with the blend I got. So I never even made it to the point where I started putting oil on this guitar. What we're going to do now is sand all this black back, go through this process one more time. I'm going to let it dry overnight. I'll come down here in the morning, start applying this oil after we clean our bevels up. I'm going to turn the camera off right now because you guys have already seen this. I've sanded all the finish back off of it again. We're about to restain this thing blue, and I had time to do this, so I can't let it go. I could have sanded that back, tried to touch the stain up a little bit. The best way to handle that issue is to start from scratch. Before, I did not have any regular blue Angelus leather dye. I just got a shipment today of 6 other colors. I'm going to do exactly the same thing as we did the first time. Wipe the whole body down with turquoise. Right in this area, I've got the flame and the maple is running the whole width of this board. If I have a blend that occurs anywhere close to that line, it looks like a hard line. So that's the main reason I'm doing this. So here we go, turquoise, same thing as last time. Also this time, to try to get this color just a little bit punchier, I used 320 grit as my final sanding level instead of 360 super Aslix. Now what I did this time that was a little bit different, a base of black, but then I went back over that one time with navy blue. Then I went back over it again with purple. What I was really trying to do is make the black as dark black as I could get it. And adding blue to black makes it appear darker. Now we're going to go to the light blue. I love that light blue. That's probably one of my favorite Angelus colors. And let's see how much darker the regular blue is going to be. We're going to start it right up in here. Now that I've got the regular Angelus blue, I'm going to have to say that it's my favorite color of Angelus. I really love it. So let's start to pull some of this light blue just down past that line a little. All right, you guys, I got it done finally. I got the headstock done too, and I love it. I think it's awesome. I dabbed just a hair of black on about the last 1/4 inch of that. I want to blend that blue in just a little better, but I love that color. I think that's really nice. And there's my body, you guys. I'm completely happy with the blend I've got this time because I used 5 colors in it this time, you guys. I've got the turquoise, I've got the light blue, the navy, and then I dabbed a little bit of black, and we even used a little purple at some point. but I abandoned the purple because it was casting all red, and I wanted to make sure I kept it blue. So instead of using the purple, I opted to go for just a little bit of black on the tips of these horns. And I think that gave us a little bit better definition from a light to dark fade. All this will blend in a little better once we hit it with the steel wool. We're back to where I want to be. I'm going to leave this thing overnight to dry. When I come down here in the morning, we're going to hit this thing with steel wool. I'm going to wipe the Osmo wood wax on this body very gently until I see the wood wax start to puddle on the surface. All right, you guys, so when we left off last night, I had my new stain wiped on here, just like it is right now. I love this thing. I am so happy with how this turned out after my third go round with this. So you guys are just going to have to forgive me and overlook it and all that stuff. What I want to do is sand these bevels flat before we put oil on this guitar. That way I can oil the whole thing. I started thinking about this last night and I was like, well, if I go ahead and sand my bevels clean, not only will it not clog up my sandpaper with the oil, it will allow me to final sand the whole body and just go ahead and put a coat of oil on this whole thing, knowing that I have decided to do all this sanding first. We're going to jump right in back on it. And look, you guys, I know the last couple of videos, actually this will be the third video in a row that I have released that is pretty much me sanding. But I want you guys to know what I put into each individual guitar build. What I'm going to do first is get these bevels clean. Then I'll put some finer grit sandpaper on this block right here, or another block. We'll continue to go around these sides, then I'll tighten that line up. My goal right now is to get this bevel sorted. All right, you guys, it's time to get some oil on the front of this guitar and wrap this video up. I'm going to show you guys what this oil is going to look like on the front of this body. We'll oil the back as well. You know, it could be said that you're never actually done sanding. So what I want to do now is take some quadruple aught steel wool. I've got some right here. And I want to very gently go over the front of this body. All right, let's vacuum it. All right, let's pop the top on this Osmo. I'll get down in this cavity, but I'm not too worried about it. I can catch any touch-up we need to later. All right, you guys, I'm going to let it sit here for about 20 minutes. I'll come back, we'll rub the excess back, and we're going to call it a night and call it a wrap. All right, you guys, it's been probably about 15 minutes in all actuality. I just want to wipe this stuff back, and I don't want to wipe it all off. I just want to get the puddled stuff that's sitting on top of this thing off of there. I don't want it to cause me to, you know, to leave streaks in my finish. I love Padauk. I mean, it's got that glow to it, you know. It's really, really lovely wood. All right, you guys, here we go. Finally. I'm super happy with it now. It took 3 times for me to get this right, but there she is. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap this video up right here. I know that this video's been almost an exact duplicate of the last video I released, and I apologize for releasing 2 videos full of sanding. But what this actually was for me is an effort to be upfront with you guys. It's important to me, you guys, to show you that I've made mistakes on it, but it's even more important for me to feel like I'm being honest with you guys and upfront. I love to do anything I can to grow this community, and you can't get that by being dishonest, I don't think. So it was important to me that I show you guys that I made mistakes on this guitar, but I've been able to recover from it. So yes, I released another video full of sanding, but I wanted to make certain that I had a video to release tomorrow. And I release a video every Sunday, or I've been trying to for the past several months. I've been also bouncing back and forth between this guitar and the guitar that was formerly called the Figure 8 build. I will be announcing the new name for that guitar coming up in the next episode, but I'm not going to do the 2-week scenario anymore. I'm done with that. We're to the point now that I'm going to have curing time on the oil between these 2 guitars, and they're both almost in the same spot at this point as far as completion goes. So I'm going to be wiping oil on the Figure 8 build throughout this coming week, just like I am on my Cloud 9 build. So there's a good possibility that I'm going to release 2 videos next weekend. I won't release them on the same day. I may do one on Saturday, one on Sunday. I'll decide that when I figure out how far I can get into these things. I just didn't think it was necessary for me to make you guys wait 2 more weeks to see what this guitar is going to look like with all the oil applied at least. Hopefully by this coming Thursday, I will be able to start assembly on this guitar. So in the next video, you guys will at least be able to see what the bridge is going to look like on here, what the tuners are going to look like. We may not make it to a sound demo, but we're going to be damn close to it, you guys. I am excited as hell about this. I really am. It's been a long time coming. I got big news coming up here on the channel, you guys, so please stick around for that. The Great Guitar Build-Off ends September the 30th at midnight. On October the 1st, I'll be announcing the details surrounding my next guitar giveaway. So you guys make sure you're here on October the 1st. I will also be announcing some other big news here on the channel coming up real soon. So if you don't mind, make sure you hit that button, hit that notification bell, drop me a couple of comments, let me know what you think about this build and everything else I've got going here on the channel. And as always, you guys, peace and love.